Welcome to Sensible Secondhand Classics, the series where we look at practical and sensible cars that are over 15 years old. You can buy for a budget of between £1,000 and £5,000. This is a 1999 Rover 200 BRM. Is it any good? Should you care? Let's find out, shall we? So the R3 generation of the Rover 200 was launched in 1995. It replaced directly the R8 version of the Rover 200 that had come out in 1989. The front structure of this car, the front suspension, subframe, heater box, everything like that, is exactly the same. The Honda Concerto, which is the sister car for the R8 200, had a double wishbone front suspension, but for some reason on the R8 200s, they went with a McPherson strut arrangement, and that carried over into the R3. The rear suspension on this car is actually a modified Meister arrangement, which meant that the car had quite a big boot for the time, and also was easy to fit the fuel tank and rear suspension in. So they do handle quite well, these cars. Even the car that cost £100, when one of my friends, Mr. Curry, bought it in 2020, it was a 96 214 SI, I thought, no budget reviews back in the day. That handled really well, and this, with its 20mm lowered ride height over the standard 200 VI, which was the top of the range model before the BRM came out, it handles even better. It's actually ideal for driving around these roads out in Buckinghamshire. My gosh, viewers, with a 1.8 VVC engine generating 143 horsepower, this car's actually been lightly modified, so it's got even more power than that. It pulls really, really well up these hills. Absolute delight. We'll go into a little bit more of the history of the 200 BRM when we actually walk around the car, but first of all, we will talk about some of the engine options available. So, first of all, you could get a 1.1 with 59 horsepower. All the petrol engines in an R3 200 come from the K series family. The 1.1 was introduced actually in 1998 to replace the Rover 100, but had been discontinued following a pretty bad crash test result in late 1997. Above that were two versions of 1.4, an 8-valve with 74 horsepower, and then a 16-valve with 103 horsepower. That's probably the most common engine you'll find in one of these, would be the 1.4 16-valve. Above that, you get a 1.6 109 horsepower that was also available with a like a CVT gearbox. So I tried it years ago, and it wasn't so the best I've ever driven. Following that, you could also get a 1.8 with I think 117 horsepower, and then of course this crazy 1.8 VC with 143 horsepower. There were also some diesels, but as usual, due to controversial government legislation and all kinds of other reasons, we don't talk about diesels on this channel. So the suspension setup in this car, which was successfully then later used with 25 MGZR and the Rover Streetwise, is superb. With this exhaust on it as well, which sounds good, we fling it into these corners using this 5-speed Honda-derived PG1 gearbox. It was only available on the 1.8 petrol versions. it just picks up really, really well. Oh, viewers. Mr. Brooke from the Beards and Bangers channel, who owns this car and actually has another one as well, he thinks it's delightful, and so do I, viewers. Steering, superb. Better driving position in this car because of the seat, superb. Snickety PG1 gearbox, superb. Brakes are good. I still feel like my clutch foot is a little bit bent, so not necessarily for me the most comfortable car on a long journey, but a lot of people do drive these long ways, and maybe it's just me. I don't know, viewers, I'm a bit strange. Well, viewers, oh dear. It's very similar, of course, to a 25 GTI, and I have driven one of those too. They're quite rare. I don't know whether I prefer this. I think I prefer this because of the colour and the leather and the styling. Am I going to have to get one of these myself, viewers? Answer in the comment section below. Well, viewers, here we are out in the countryside looking at this lovely 1999 Rover 200 BRM owned by Mr. Brooke from the Beards and Bangers channel, as you can see from number plate and the sticker and all kinds of other things. I recommend watching his videos, particularly about old MGs and Rovers. That one we can't discuss on this channel, viewers, much as I'd like to, because it has a beige leather interior and wood. Anyway, 200 BRM was a strange special edition that was only available between 1998 and 2000. It was launched in the sort of autumn of 1998. They were £18,000, which it sounds like a lot of money now. There's a lot of money in 1998. So they first dropped the price to £16,000 and then £14,000 in 2000 just to get lost them out the door. By 2000, the Rover 25 had been on sale for a couple of months. So you can see they didn't actually sell as many of them as quickly as they thought they would. But eventually they did, and now they are reasonably valuable. This car, in its current state, it does need a bit of work, actually, this one. But it was bought for about £2,500, I think. So we'll take a look actually in the boot first. One of the things that customers said about the old R8, and which this is reasonably heavily based, although the rear suspension is out of a Maestro, so that's not the same, but front structure and suspension are the same, and the platform is very similar, was that we don't like the way that you have to use an internal release to open the boot or use the key. We want a button, like a lot of other cars at the time. So they put a button on the boot. Here we go. Only available in this Brooklands green. You can see the boot for a car of this size is pretty big. I think it's over 300 litres, which in the mid-90s was very big. I mean, a Fiesta or a Corsa would have been considerably smaller. But obviously, Rover decided that they didn't want to go after those customers. They'd go after the Escort and the Astra customers with this. When it was repositioned as the 25, and it was actually up against the Fiesta and the Corsa, it made a lot more sense. But the boot is actually really big on one of these for a car like this. To move these things out of the way, and we pull this carpet up. And we've got a spare in there. It's a full-size one. So yeah, with these suspension struts in here from the Maestro are far less intrusive than they would be on an R8. So you can fit, you know, the fuel tank and all kinds of things in here. And actually, the Maestros drive quite well. I've driven a lot of Maestros and Montegos, and they drive pretty well, really. So it wasn't a bad idea. And I think it saved £10 per car as well by fitting this particular suspension as opposed to going with the double wishbone arrangement that had been at the rear of the R8s. Very, very nice looking car with these Cosmos alloy wheels. They first came out, I think, on the BRM. You can see one of them's got a Rover badge because they were used on other models. My 2003 Rover 45 V6 also had Cosmos wheels, and they look brilliant. You can also fit them to earlier cars. You can put them on other R3s. You can put them on R8s. You can put them on, well, 25s, 45s, ZSs, ZRs, streetwisers, whatever you like. Nice with the unique grille there and the unique air intake. I'm listening to the old BRM racing cars, and the last BRM collaboration with Rover had been in the 60s actually. I think these look really good. The 200 VI, which is quite similar mechanically to this, although the suspension and the differential aren't the same, doesn't look as exciting as this. That's one thing about the VIs when they came out in 1997. They look quite plain. They're very fast, but just look a little bit plain. Now, it depends how you like your hot hatches. You like them extrovert, you can go for a BRM. If you like them very subtle, you can go for a 200 VI, although the 200 VI is considerably rarer these days than a BRM. So we will have a look inside using this old, I think it's a Honda Civic door handle from the 1980s, this thing is. Very, very nice bespoke interior with quilted leather, which Mr. Brook keeps in nice condition. You can actually smell that he does as well. Red bits on the steering wheel. These unique red leather seats, red carpet. This was a little bit faded, but they were originally red. And then whatever high specification you can have, we've got air conditioning and steering wheel controls and all sorts of exciting modern conveniences, viewers. Stuck that in there. Door pockets are quite long as well. You can see you can put all sorts of things in there. One thing about these cars, and it's the same with any other R3 or the 25 that came later or the ZR of the Streetwise, is that I'm not very keen on the driving position. For some reason in the R8s, the driving position was better than this. I always find the steering wheel is a little bit too low, whatever you happen to do, and that is a bit of a problem because when you have this clutches on a cable, and I've driven a lot of these on the 25 with very stiff clutches, and they tend to, as standard, be set up quite high in terms of the biting point. So I don't find these particularly comfortable to drive for any sort of distance. With these seats, though, that might be different. They are very nice. Also got a passenger airbag in here. Have we got air conditioning in here? No, it was an option. This car doesn't have air conditioning. You can see, though, someone's fitted unique surrounds and unique knobs to these controls. One thing you must be aware of when you're buying any R8, R3, 25, Streetwise ZR is the heater resistor will often fail. Now, it's quite a cheap part to change. You can get an upgraded kit from Discount MG Rover Spares will do you one. I had one on my 45 that I did. But if the control doesn't work on positions 1 and 2, you know the resistor's failed. It's not completely expensive. It can be a bit awkward to fit. The part, it actually goes underneath the glove box. But it's just something to bear in mind looking at one of these. So 5-speed PG1 X Honda gearbox, very similar to what was in the R8 Tomcat Coupe. With a Torsen differential that also came on the 220 Coupe in this particular car, a version of it. Came with stereo. Now you get obviously all sorts of different stereos. You can tell this car originally was designed in terms of the structure in the 1980s, because look where the stereo is right down here. You expect it to be sort of, I don't know, here or something like that, but it's right down there, which is a bit of a pain. It's like my Nissan Sunny, actually, in that respect. So, yeah, obviously sometimes these fall off. You can see that one's missing there. I think that's the air conditioning button where it would be if this car had it. I think it's that one. The interior is very nice. It's just the 25, which came a little bit after this. This is a 99, and it was introduced in late 99. They had a slightly different sort of dash arrangement. When the facelift ones were different again from 2004 onwards. So 114,000 miles in here. Very, very kind of nice plain instruments, very easy to read. You've got these stalks are the same as 400 or 45, things like that. That mirror switch is out of an 800. Yeah, it feels really comfortable, this seat. It's much more comfortable than the standard seats you get in these. Headlining is missing because this car's actually got a really strange rust spot in it, and it needs to have the headlining taken out to have that changed, which it will be done at some point. So yeah, I am quite excited about this, actually, viewers. I've been wanting to drive a BRM for many, many years, and the day has finally come, and it's very nice. Mr. Brooke has very kindly allowed me to have a go in his pride and joy. He has got another one somewhere, but this is one that's on the road at the moment. One thing I'll have to do is get in the back, and Mr. Manning from the Matty's Cars channel requires that I do. So I shall do that, viewers, and we will see how spacious this thing actually is behind the driver's seat. Okay, viewers, I've adjusted that seat a bit forward. Right, Mr. Manning, let's see what we can do. Yeah, we've got red coated leather in the back of here. Very nice. Oh dear. Oh dear. This isn't going well, viewers. Oh dear. I mean, it's alright. I've got a bit more room because the headlining's not in the car, but maybe the 5-door's a bit more spacious, but actually they're not. These really weren't cars that competed with the, well, there's somebody been a Focus and the Astra. They're just a little bit small in the back for that. Boot, yeah, fine, but the actual sort of cabin space inside, front's okay, rear not so much. I have driven a couple of 5-doors. I used to own a 5-door 25 as well, and a 5-door 216 SI from 1998. So I am sort of familiar with these. I've been for years. But rear accommodation is not necessarily the best unless your friends have very short legs. So you have to look elsewhere. Also, really annoying about the car, we've got this beautiful sort of gear lever and gear gaiter and nice handbrake. We've still got electric running switches in the middle, which is a costly measure. The R8s actually had them. If they had electric runners, would be on the door there. Presumably, this is just meant to make production a little bit cheaper by fitting them down there. And the dash actually is so similar underneath in terms of the way it works to an R8 that these dashes were fitted to the later R8 Tourers and coupes and cabriolets until 1999, so they sort of rationalised parts a little bit there. But yeah, rear space not particularly good. Rest of the car not so bad. Right, here we have the 143 brake horsepower 1.8 K series with variable valve timing, or VVC, whatever you used to call it. Cam belt cover is here. If you want to see what it's like to change a cam belt in this engine, then Mr. Richardson from Furious Driving had his 200 VI cam belt changed by Mr. Coleman, a Roach mechanic, a few years ago. It's not as easy as a standard 1.8. This car's actually been lightly modified. We've got differences in the manifold and things like that in here, so we've got a bit more power in this particular car. Got a pipe across air filter and things, and we've also had a strut brace fitted, which will probably stiffen the car up a little bit. One thing you do have to watch, of course, on a K series, and I must mention this, is the head gasket. By now, most of these will have had them done, because they did tend to go. One thing you probably shouldn't do is fit a multi-layer steel gasket, which was all the rage about 15 years ago for solving this issue. Really what you want to do is go for a Lotus Elise spec or Victor Rhine spec head gasket and make sure it's done properly. You can only really skim the head on these a couple of times before you have to then change the entire cylinder head. This one, we're not actually sure if it's been done. The cam belt's been done, which is about every 6 years, I think it is, on these. And yeah, this was done a few years ago, so that's fine. Actually, a surprisingly sort of rorted engine for the size, especially when it came out in 1989 in the R8 200 1.4 form. This is obviously the largest version the case has ever got, 1.8. But the most power was actually from the specification fitted to the ZR160 and some other models as well. Anyway, it's time to stop waffling, viewers. I think it's time to go out for another spin. Unfortunately, viewers, my time with this car is coming to an end, and so I've got to go and give it back to Mr. Brooke, which is a shame because it's very, very nice and I like it a lot. It's just got this really good balance of power. It's got this excellent riding and handling balance. It sits very nice in the corners. The ride's actually not too bad. It's pretty good. Once this car's headlining is replaced and the corrosion that's on the car, which is actually just above the tailgate, it's inside. It's really strange. Once that's fixed, it'll be brilliant. Red seat looks like an old MG Metro. I can't believe this car's at 114,000 miles. It doesn't feel like that at all. Yeah. What a delightful little car. So viewers, should you buy one of these 200 BRMs as your sensible second-hand classic? Yeah, you can buy one of these between sort of £1,000 and £5,000 at MOT. There's actually quite a few around, considering they only made 795 for this country. The survival rate is surprisingly high. They weren't worth anything for a while, but they are starting to be worth a bit more now. I'd say if you can find a nice one, buy it when you can. Be aware of weird electronic issues and head gasket failure and rust and things like that. Make sure the cam must be done every 6 years. And watch the tyre wear on these, because obviously someone's going to have probably driven it quite enthusiastically, like Vista Brook and I have been doing today. But thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video, comment below, and we shall see you again soon for some more reasonably priced nostalgic motoring.